you all for coming here. I kindly request our special invitees and dignitaries to the dais, starting with the director, Dr. Vikram sir. Please come. Palani sir, principal sir, Sadish Solomon sir, Thomas Samuel Ram sir. Please come to the dais. And Dr. Thomas Matthew, please come sir. And Andrew sir, Andrew sir. And our president, Margaret Christie, please come to the stage. Thank you all. Thanks for coming again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, respected dignitaries, alumni, faculty, and dear friends. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the official inauguration of 4th OPTAA Alumni Reunion 2025. It is truly a proud moment as we gather here to celebrate the legacy, the journey, and the future of Occupational and Physiotherapy fraternity of CMC Vellore. Let us begin the evening by invoking divine blessings. I invite Treasurer Rachel to the opening prayer.
I'd like to quote a verse from the Bible which says, Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1, a time to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. So this beautiful verse reflects the journey of the alumni, how they learn, grow, serve, and come again together to reunite in this institution. Let's bow our head in prayer. Dear God, thank you for this day that you've given us. God, thank you for bringing us here together to praise and worship your name. God, as you have gathered here, help us to fill our hearts with gratitude for the past, purpose for the present, and a hope for the future. God, help us to bring good words of encouragement to each other, and let this fellowship be a blessing to this institution. God, whatever we do today, help it to bring glory and honor to your name alone. In Jesus' name we ask this prayer. Amen.
Thank you, Rachel. Now to formally welcome you all, I invite Ms. Margaret Christie, President of OPTAA, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening, everyone. It gives me great joy in seeing all of you and the dignitaries here. We really, pulled it out in a very short time, and thank you so much to everyone who made it here. And with all happiness and real joy in my heart, I welcome you all for this wonderful event. Mainly to our official dignitaries who made it for us. We're a very small number small in number, but I think our services, I'm sure, has been beyond what our number could achieve in reality. I'm really, really happy and glad that we have a good support system that takes us into the, a multidisciplinary team, and we are able to contribute the little that we can. I would like to warmly welcome our guest for the day, Dr. Vikram Mathews, the director of CMC Vellore, and I invite Mr. Ruby Nakka to felicitate him with a memento. Thank you so much, sir, for making a presence here despite your busy schedule. I would also like to invite Mr. Palani. Mr. Palani is the first batch of DPT, batch of 1962. Thank you, sir, for coming all over. And we would really like to thank your family who sent you over, because coming from Tiruvannamalai to here, at this age, I wouldn't send my father, all alone saying you can go for the reunion, but you made it for us. Thank you so much. And I would like to invite Mr. Rabindran to felicitate Mr. Palani. I would also like to warmly welcome Dr. Thomas Mathew, the first president of OPTAA, the man or the key driving force behind forming OPTAA. I know, sir, that process in 2011 was a fun thing, a huge thing to do. And I'm sure without your perseverance, it wouldn't have been possible. Would like to warmly welcome you, sir, and I invite Abraham Samuel Babu to felicitate Dr. Thomas Mathew. Thank you. Would also like to warmly welcome our dear principal, Dr. Solomon Satish Kumar, Bablu sir, we all call him. He was our physiology professor when I was in my first year. I don't think I was much of a bully during that time, but ever since I took as the president of OPTA, I've been really nagging him like for when we wanted to open our website, I was like, I literally tracked and traced him to get him. And I think I'm like constantly behind him. So thank you so much, sir, for bearing with us and making your presence here. I would like to call upon his best friend, Vineet, to felicitate Bablu, sir. Yeah, my anatomy teacher too. And we come from the same town. So when he asked me a question I couldn't answer, he asked me which school I studied. And when I said the name of the school, he said, "This girl comes from a town that's known to the entire world. She comes from a school that's known beyond the world, and she does not know answer to this question." So, but he is like one big person who was really supportive when we initially started. So fond memories we do share. I would also like to invite Dr. Satish Solomon T. Selvin, the AHS Vice Principal. We would like to give a great thanks to you because you've been very supportive in all the, getting all the permissions for students and everything. So thank you so much for all the support that you've rendered to us. We would like to warmly welcome you. I like to invite Mr. Shivram to felicitate Dr. Satish Solomon. Thank you. I would also like to welcome Dr. Thomas Samuel Ram, who is the chairperson of Consultation 2025. So when we started this reunion, our thought process was to emphasize or, show more importance to people working in India and how much we have done as products of CMC and how much are we able to, contribute back to CMC. And that's when the Consultation 2025 came up, and Dr. Thomas happens to be one of the executive committee member, Esther's uncle. So when she brought this to us, found the best time to collaborate things between the institution. And when thought processes align, I think we sail in the same boat. So we welcome you warmly, sir. We are very glad to have here. I would like to invite Preeti ma'am to felicitate Dr. Thomas Samuel Ram. And last but not least, we welcome all our alumni. Thank you so much for making it from different parts of the world. Uh, and there was one person who has been key from day one. I did not ask him to send any emails. I did not ask him, "Sir, can you please do this?" I never told him anything, but he has been constantly doing things for us. And all that he would say is, "Margaret, that's done." And that support coming from within the department is very, very, very huge for someone who was living away from the country and saying, "It's okay, go ahead, do it." Every time I call him, he only says, "Go ahead, do it, I'll take care of it." And he really took care of it. So a very warm welcome to Andrew, sir. And I would like to invite Sundar, sir, to felicitate Mr. Andrew Babu. I'm not going to take much of time because I know people are really busy here. So we're going to end our welcome address here and we'll go directly into the meeting. I hand over to Titu now.
Thank you, Margaret. Now it's my honor to invite Dr. Vikram Mathews, Director of CMC, to deliver the inauguration address. Over to you, sir. Please. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. The people, dignitaries on the dais, very happy to see you, sir, Mr. Palani, that you come all the way. And the first batch of the PT, really, really amazing that you all could come. And hats off for creating this alumni group, Mr. Thomas Matthew. And to all of you all, a warm welcome to CMC Vellore. An alumni reunion is always a time of fun. It's a time where you rapidly regress back to your student days. The speed at which you regress is quite amazing, and it's actually quite impressive how it seems like just yesterday, the conversation goes back to the days of when was probably some of the best days of our life is probably as students. And, there's a lot of warm memories around it. For us, we are particularly grateful to all that you all have done and continue to do in the field of healthcare. Occupational physiotherapy is something that is so integral. We take it for granted. But I can tell you, as a caregiver, I've interacted with many of you all. And the difference that it has made to our patients is just incredible. And I don't say this just because I'm here for an OPTAA Alumni Reunion. I have visible experiences and people I can relate to. Margaret, I couldn't recognize you. My apologies for that. But we have shared care with a patient called Muthumina. And she continues, she was telling me, and I just met her, that she continues to interact with her, after all these years. And they actually attended each other's weddings. That's amazing. It's fantastic. And this was a person who was so handicapped, and she went for months together on therapy. And then I see a lot of people over here who are involved with hemophilia care. And it's really amazing the work that has been done in some of those patients. I still remember, and I unfortunately can't remember his name, a patient from Nepal who the mother would carry on her back, a big 14-year-old boy who was literally carried on his back and would come to the outpatient. And there was the clinic, and this guy he went away walking, on his own steam. And really, it's nothing that we did, it was all the physiotherapy and the occupational therapy and all the things that went into it. And I can give you stories on stories on stories of people who come here and, whether it's the PMR or the rehabilitation, and it's almost, we just take it for granted, but it's almost miraculous how people actually improve. So there are many aspects to healing, as we were discussing as part of the consultation today. There's just the medicines, but there's so much in the healing process, that is complex. And I think it involves beyond all the structure, just the touch and the care that you all bring over and above your technical skills. I think there is a care element that is so critical in the field.
only people have come from abroad, like that of Miss Frankie, Miss Mikota Helen North, Steve L. Columban, and all others have worked, and they laid the foundation for physiotherapy for occupational therapy in this program. And Mr. John Samuel and Thomas Monicum, they were attached to the general work. I was working with Dr. Paul Brand, with whom I had worked about 7 years. Paul Brand was a spiritual background. He studied the Bible in and out, and he found that Jesus Christ has healed number of leprosy patients. Why don't I do something useful to these people? This is what he thought. And therefore, he started examining the claw hands of hundreds of claw hands, and no doctor was willing to touch. In those days, it was attached so much of stigma. When I was working with him, I found I was nowhere, because I could not communicate with any language which he thinks of so much. Therefore, I contacted Miss Ruth Thomas, working at Calgary as a physiotherapist. I asked her to teach physiotherapy to my level so that I can be accomplishing something useful to this hand research unit. I used to travel to Calgary by cycle about 30 kilometers up and down, and then attend to her classes. She said when she was to teach osteology, I had no bones. I went to a graveyard and collected the bones and cleaned them and started teaching. And then I learned about the musculature, about the upper extremities, lower extremities, all that in detail, so that I could speak the language of Dr. Brand. When he says any muscle or anything which he is talking about to decompression of the nerves, I was asked to electrically assess them, diagnose whether the muscle is showing complete reaction of denervation or absolute reaction of degeneration, all that we form in the graph. Before operation and after operation, he will study the efficacy of the decompression of the nerves, which was a great thing in those days. He went on and operating on patients, and I was able to see that his growth is internationally has become famous. Everywhere in the globe, they used to invite him to come and help in the setup. When it comes to the plantar ulcers, once the patient gets the ulcer, throughout lifetime, he has to be with it, sometimes leading to amputation. Dr. Paul Brand has found an answer. He applied plasters, and I was very much with him. And I started teaching people from India and abroad, coming and learning how to apply plaster cast and heal the ulcer, and also provide footwear, MCR footwear, all that. Once I was invited by Dr. Brand to come to the Operation Theatre, and he said, come with electrical stimulator. He was working with Harold Gillis, the father of plastic surgery, and the patient had leg ophthalmos deformity, where he was unable to close his eyelids, widely open, dust particles get into the eye, conjunctiva, cornea get ulcerated, and sometimes leading to blindness. They wanted to replace this orbicularis oculi muscle by doing a tendon transfer. That is, the temporalis muscle tendinous structure is divided into two slips. One slip is to the upper lid and tunneled through the lower lid and attached to a medial canthal ligament, where both of them appreciated for my work because I was able to adjust the tension of the tendon transfer, and both of them thanked me very much. And when I was posted at the Rehab Institute, I warmly remember the work of Dr. Thomas Mathews. He, after his training, he had been to USA. He had established about 6 to 8 physiotherapy clinics. And then he told me once, what for I am to earn all this money? Therefore, I decided to come back to India and work. And we congratulate him for his efforts, and he is doing greatly this good job. Then I also think of this Ratnakumar, Ruby Ratnakumar used to treat one 4-limb amputee patient bilaterally. No artificial limbs were given, upper limb also artificial limb given. He has trained that patient with calipers and also made him to walk. The occupational therapists have trained them in such a way that the patient can eat with spoon and also brush his teeth. All that was accomplished. It used to be a great enjoyment. Then I had come across one more physiotherapist by name Susan Mathews. By 1:30 p.m., I saw her struggling with the patient, giving resisted exercises. I went to her. The lunch time is between 1 to 2. How come you are sweating and working on this patient? She said, I am giving my youth to my maker. This is keep on ringing my ears a number of times. The youth, she has spent it wisely so that the patient can improve. And not only that, it will improve her soul's satisfaction. It was a great joy to be associated with the work of Rehabilitation Institute. I was very much interested in developing some of the inexpensive splints with the bamboos. I was able to get a walker made out of it, parallel bar and crutches, all that I was able to make. And then I had presented this paper at the international conference at Delhi, and where people from abroad, all that, they were very much appreciative of the inexpensive splints. So there is a lot of hope is present with the acquiring knowledge. We can do wonderful things. And Mr. Steve Columban used to say that physiotherapy is very much honored in our USA. And then he said, and your students, they do better than our American students. So if this is the background of this, I think every physiotherapist should have a motivation in life. And in my book, Dr. Paul Brand asked me to write a book. And this, I have said, the birth is a miracle. You do not know to whom you will be born. Your life should be having a motivation, and your verb, deed, and talk, everything should be worthwhile, and that your life should be a death of inspiration to everybody. So this is all that background I have been able to do this. And when I was about to retire from CMC, I had a number of invitations from various physiotherapy colleges to work as the principal. And after that, I joined Vinayaka Missions Medical College as the principal and director for the College of Physiotherapy, worked there for about 22 years. 2018, I returned, and my daughter, eldest daughter, she worked at Navy Lignite Corporation as a chief general manager. And even if after retirement, she has been asked to go to Delhi and attend some meetings. And my second daughter, she did as a DGO, and they have their own hospital in Changam. I invite all of those who are free, please do come and visit us and say a grace. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Thanks. I forgot to tell, please be seated. I forgot to tell one important thing. We are running this physiotherapy program for the last 75 years. When the new colleges are opened, where there is a lot of space is available for treating patients. Here I find no space in the gym, and there is a lot of struggle. I am happy that the authorities are here. Please do find a place where there is a lot of spaces available and they can communicate with the patient. Nothing is possible now. I do not think this should keep on a prolonged basis. And I request the medical superintendent and all the authorities to take steps to give a place, because you are now running to Ranipet Hospital. Here there will be a lot of space will be available. Please make a request, because whenever I come, I somewhat feel grieved why this physiotherapy is not given due place. Thank you.
Thank you, Palani sir. Moving on, I have two names to say who inspired me. One who pulled me to OPTAA was Babu sir. One who pulled me to OPTAA was Thomas Mathews sir. So I invite Thomas Mathews sir for delivering the speech next.
Thank you, Tutu, for that beautiful introduction. Thanks all the dignitaries on the stage, and all my dear friends, seniors, juniors, my colleagues. It's a privilege to stand here. I'm sitting there, a lot of emotions, flashbacks were going through my mind. I believe in respecting three people, always honoring them, remembering them. One is the faith, the God I believe. Second is my parents. Third is my gurus, my teachers. With all respect, I like to pay my biggest gratitude and honor to one of the simplest, humblest, but one of the most influential person in my life. That is my dear Palani sir. I think my heart is very full today because I was sitting there and remembering how many times he took me back of his cycle to his house. He has carried me in his cycle because end of the day, he see me a little tired. He told, come on. So I will jump back of his cycle. He will ride to me his home. And then his wife comes with such a hospitality smile, told, well, make me a tea. Before she tells me, can I make you a tea? I told, okay, please do. She'll make me very nice tea. And one day I was sitting there, very humble setup. There are a few rats were running up and down. So I got up, sir, rat. I still remember sir told, that is part of the life, part of the nature. You know, even today, this is about 35 years, I still remember that. Certain things are part of your life. It's not the poshness, it's not the, what you call exclusiveness, it's not what you are. But I've met several dignitaries, several VVIPs, but sometimes I feel that Palani sir has influenced me more than any of these people. Throughout my life, I think he has inspired me. I've been in touch with him. Even every vacation I come, I make sure that I will go and meet him. I get his blessings every time till today. I feel that I owe to him for everything. He's empowered me. He's guided me. Several days, I remember he has given his office key to me and told, take care of it. He told me to get this letter edited, typed, and bring it to me tomorrow. And he will close his eyes and sign that. And several times I asked, sir, can you read it? No, I trust you. He has signed a lot of letters I given to him blindly with the faith that I will do the right thing. The integrity he taught me is amazing. So I was so thrilled to be here because I knew sir is coming. I had 100 reasons to not to come today. I was in Bombay. I just came back from Bombay. Just arrived Chennai and came back and running here. I have 100 reasons to say I'm not able to come today. But I had the one reason to say I want to be here because Palani sir is here. So I pay a lot of respect to him with on all of his behalf. I think he's a living legend for me. And OPTAA 86 is what we joined, 1986. So you can calculate my age. So 86, we joined the batch. And first year that's the year, I think Ravindran sir and all remember, with Boris, Ravindran, Sean, and all that group very actively started the OPTAA. And I was the first year representative in OPTAA. Second year, I become the general secretary of OPTAA. Third year, I become the president of OPTAA. I didn't leave it. Fourth year, I become the Indian rep of OPTAA. So all 4 years, I was there. What OPTAA did to me is amazing. What I am today here is because of OPTAA. I was an ordinary Malayali guy from Kerala, which says lorry. This is the guy I am. I'm not extraordinary person. But to that ordinary person, when I humble myself, took the platforms OPTAA gave me, I feel I become extraordinary. I knew how to manage conflicts. Suddenly, the presiding person didn't come. The electricity went off. It gives me the ability how to have the presence of mind to handle a crisis. And that helped me in my family life. When I had a crisis, how to keep the presence of mind to handle it, have a plan B. I never knew what plan B is. I told only A, B, C, that all. But plan B I learned in OPTAA. And I always keep a plan B in my mind. And that helped my family life. That extremely helped me in my work in US. 16 years about I worked in US and my clinical practice and social other aspect it helped. And even today, what I am today is because of OPTAA, the abilities I gained in OPTAA, the skills I gained in OPTAA, how to manage people, how to handle people, how to conduct a meeting. Remember my second year, Palani sir approached me and asked me, we have a conference coming. We have no money. Can you do it? Myself, Ruby, and few of our classmates took the challenge. We told we'll do it. We have zero money. We want to publish a magazine. Nothing was left. And administration, I think, gave us 1,000 rupees or something that time. We went shop to shop and asked people for money. Everybody was telling you they're going to fight. And each shop person was so receptive. They said, because of CMC only, we are surviving. We raised, even I remember the number, 32,000 rupees that time. That's like a 32 lakhs today. And we conducted one of the best conferences here for 2 days, All India Conference, first time ever in the PT department. And then we had remaining money. We bought an overhead projector. Remember an overhead projector where you put that and you see there? That projector we bought with that money. Sir was so happy and proud. I remember he told 1,000 people about it. Look at my students. I'm proud about my students. I'm proud about things. That was a great, great experience I got from OPTAA. Then I went to US. All my things, every time the leaders, directors from CMC come, they make me feel guilty. Oh, you should not have left India, CMC. India needs you. You need to come back, blah, blah. Every time, as Palani sir mentioned now, we mentioned about masters, doctoral program, space issues, we brought it up. So immediately the leaders tell, no, you need to come back. You need to come and lead. So after constant hearing this, myself, Ruby, decided to come back. Ruby decided to focus on Hope House work. I decided to come back and focus with the CMC. So I took a house here, settled my children, came here. CMC told me I'm too qualified to join CMC at that point. Can you believe? I was so I was so interestingly surprised, shocked or something. So I saw some of the mentors I have in CMC. I told them, they told, no, you need to go to council and bring this up. You need to join. I told, see, if God want me to be in CMC, he will open doors for me. TB doesn't want me to. Why should I push open a door? I didn't. I went to Yelagiri, worked with tribal children. I know whoever closed the door, I have the most grateful to them. Because of them, I become a better person. I went on to do my medical schooling. I completed medical school. I did PMR training. And now instead of becoming maybe the head of PT, I become the head of the PMR at Believers Church Medical College Hospital. So today I'm working there. So sometimes life's realities, even though it's harsh, may look at that time, but God has a plan for you. And who taught me this? OPTAA and OPSA taught me this. Several times we planned things here, didn't happen. We were frustrated, we were upset, but sometimes open up better doors for you, better opportunities for you. God, expand my territories. This I learned to pray when I was in OPSA. Lord, expand our territories. That's what each OPSA and OPTAA means for me today. Today, when I stand here, I'm so grateful. The new generation has picked it up and they want to continue this program. You doesn't know how much value it has. The value is that knowing proud what you are. After becoming a medical doctor, I had a meeting with I have about 52 therapists with me. So I had a meeting with them and asked them one question: which is a better profession? Is it medicine or therapy? So several answered different questions. So I think finally one of the therapists asked, what do you think, sir? You've been in both. You've been a therapist and you're a medical doctor now. What do you think? To be politically correct at that point, I thought a little bit, then I told, therapy is the best profession in this world. Give a round of applause. There's no cost for that. The reason is that as a medical doctor, you spend 5 or 10 minutes with a patient. You may or may not see them after that. But what does a therapist do? Spend 45 minutes to 1.5 hours with each patient. You don't just treat them, you develop a relationship with the patient. And that patient will call you for their weddings. That patient will call you for their graduations. So you develop a relationship. No other profession in this world has that connection. And PTOT, speech or therapy has that. So it's one of the best profession in this world. And it has to become one of the best profession in the world. Today I look back, my patient I see in an outpatient, 99.9% of them, I compulsorily send them for therapy and also psychological counseling. There's a lot of psychosomatic diseases we are seeing now. So OPTAA's new role is to bring the significance of therapy in India. You know, in Western countries is much more advanced, but in our country, it's still growing. Just a new regulation comes. I'm very happy. I read through it. The council coming, very good. But the speed is not enough. Look at our own CMC. We are one of the oldest school of therapy in India. Oldest school. Where are we now? We are not even started PhD program. Let this day be a decision of all of us to help CMC with the principal's blessings and Palani sir's great blessings. Let us make a decision to start the research PhD program and fellowships. Be one of the pioneer leading educational institution in this country. Let's take, we as alumni, we are here to give 110% of our support to the institution for that. Any sort of support or funding, we are 100% willing to give. But at the same time, we need to take steps, and we definitely going to get together next year with the same stage. We will be asking you, sir, can you tell us where we are standing? So let us take responsibility instead of looking at what my rights are. Take steps of responsibility that my responsibility is to make this OPTAA, to make this institution one of the pioneer, prestigious institutions. We have several educators. Preeti is coming from Wayne University. Why don't we use her? We are trying to get a MOU signed with Preeti's institution. Let us start this. Exchange programs have to be started. Our therapists need to get exposure to what's going on outside the world. And every physiotherapist, occupational therapist, speech also, in this institution should feel we have the par same rights as alumni of the medical. This is not a request, this is a right. That's what I feel. This is a right because I feel I'm alumni of CMC, and whole world I proudly still say I'm alumni of CMC. So I continue to be a pride member of Alumni Association, want to be a pride member, and will continue to be a pride member. And I appreciate, thank you for all of you gave me great opportunity so I can express my emotions here and understand that we all are behind you for the good work you do. And thank you, Sir, Principal Sir, Palani Sir, Andrew Sir, all the dear respected guests for coming and blessing us. And we look forward to continue to work with you for a better future, for the service of God, Christ, healing, and love. Let us show our therapy. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, sir. I work in NIMHANS for the last 8 years, which is a central government institute. So anything happens within the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, something big happens in NIMHANS also. So recently, there's an NCHP ad coming up where physiotherapists are given doctor things and all. So I just want to say, before all this coming up, there was a model curriculum published by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. You know who's the first person in the task force for that? Andrew Babu, sir. I was very happy to tell that this is my boss who has written his name here. I'll request Andrew Babu, sir, please come on stage.
Good evening, one and all. Respected Principal, Dr. Salam Satish, Dr. Satish Selvin, Vice Principal, Guest of Honor, Mr. Palani, and Thomas Samuel, First President Officer, Dr. Thomas Ram, Consultation Coordinator. So I'm very happy to be here to see all of you during this reunion. Thank you for making time to be here, to meet your friends, meet your seniors. And this gives an opportunity to for everyone to meet each other, and after so many years, maybe for some, also forgive every graduate to meet the previous teachers, the teachers and the classmates. It is very important to update oneself of the development of the department and the institution over the past years and reminiscence the old cherished memories here. And you have come and witnessed that today also. You would been to Rehab Institute, and also to celebrate the accomplishment of our classmates and challenges faced by them. I'm really thankful for the alumni for contributing to the development of the physiotherapy and occupation services, also for education. Today morning, we had a very good session, CME, on various topics, which was very interesting. It was well taken by the students. I think we are nurturing the students also for the community-based rehabilitation and outreach. I want to appreciate the OPTAA committee to put up a good show and interesting, exciting programs, which you are seeing now. Thank you once again for being here today and being part of this special moment in our lives. Thank you.
Before moving to the next event, I apologize to the principal, vice principal, and dignitaries. We are taking your Friday evening a bit more. So I request you to come to the chairs here. Now we'll go to the next exciting event, which is the oration named after Miss Monica Hopkins and Palani sir. I request Mr. Ruby Nakka, Executive Director of Hope House, to deliver the oration. Thank you.
respected Principal, Dr. Solomon Satish, and Dr. Satish Solomon, Dr. Thomas Ram, and Margaret, department heads, distinguished dignitaries, and fellow OTPT alumni, and esteemed guests. Good evening. Before I start my oration, I wanted to ask if anyone is ready for the anatomy challenge with Mr. Palani. He's 90 years old. I can't remember what happened last week. I have absolutely no idea how sharp he is. I was telling my wife, I can't even imagine that he's 90 years old and he's so sharp, especially in the subject of anatomy. So thank you so much for your inspiring message. Okay. It is with deep honor and humility that I stand before you today to deliver this oration. Excuse me. An ode to two remarkable individuals who helped develop the OT and PT departments in CMC. I belong to the physiotherapy batch of 1986. Tommy and I were classmates, and Andrew was my immediate senior. A time when Mr. Palani and Miss Monica Hopkins were very much at the heart of the PT and OT departments. Though they hailed from different geographies, they shared core values that united them: simplicity and unwavering dedication. Mr. Palani, a student of CMC's first ever diploma batch in physiotherapy in 1962, was a man of routine, always in white, riding his bicycle to work. From then, he continued his faithful journey with CMC until the day of his retirement. Ms. Hopkins, who journeyed with the OT department literally since its inception in 1962 as well, wore her salwar kameez every day and took the college bus each day. Together, they poured their lives into building the departments we now proudly call our own. I'm deeply proud to be a product of the Department of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, and more specifically, the Department of Physiotherapy. As I reflect on these two stalwarts, I cannot help but remember those who came before them, giants who laid the foundation for the Department of PMR and on whose shoulders we now stand. Dr. Paul Brand, as Palani sir was saying, a visionary orthopedic surgeon, encouraged a young Dr. Mary Varghese, wheelchair-bound after a devastating spinal injury, to pursue PMR as her specialty. Her story is not one of survival, but of transformation. From the depths of personal tragedy, she rose to empower many, building bridges of hope and dignity for generations to come. I had the privilege of working at the Spinal Injury Rehab Institute for 2 years. And during these years, we celebrated the Silver Jubilee year of rehab. I resided at the Mary Varghese Trust Home by paying 30 rupees of rent a month, which two of us shared. Both these places are just a stone's throw from here, and those were the transformative years of my life. I also remember being a first-year student, attending the very first OPTAA day in 1986, as Tommy was saying, at the Scudder Auditorium. The memory of those sacrifices made by our seniors to launch OPTAA left an indelible mark on my heart. And Ravi is here. He's one of the batches of founders of OPTAA. After graduating, I left CMC in 1992 with a very heavy heart to live abroad. But even during the pre-internet era, I felt a strong urge to keep the CMC OTPT alumni network alive. I wrote physical letters, made phone calls, and attended informal get-togethers when I could. With the advent of the internet, communication became a lot easier. I created a Yahoo group with the handle name OPTAA CMC, right from my home office in Lubbock, Texas, USA. I also joined the Vellore board in New York as a corporate member to draw more OTs and PTs in the US into our fold. I recall flying back from the US to Vellore to attend one of the earliest OPTAA meetings held at CHTC. I think it's that way, right? Which is just behind us, where I had the privilege of handing over a check from our US alumni, a symbol of our collective gratitude and responsibility. This is well before OPTAA was formed officially. In all of this, one thread runs consistently: sacrifice, a value rooted in our institution's motto: not to be ministered unto, but to minister. As I reflected on this theme, I remembered an article I wrote for the first OPSA magazine. In it, I had paraphrased a line from John F. Kennedy during his inauguration of his inaugural address. The title of the article was this: "Ask not what OPSA can do for you, ask what you can do for OPSA." Tonight, in the same spirit, I offer a few thoughts for us to collectively consider. Ways we can reinvest into the future of our alma mater. I just have two thoughts. First, Dr. Vikram already alluded to, establish a unified office of alumni relations. CMC seemed to produce nearly 400 graduates every year. When we consider the collective net worth, experience, and influence of alumni spread 15 to 20 years upstream and downstream, the potential impact is simply staggering. Yet, our alumni remain connected only through the fragmented groups and informal networks. Prolonged fragmentation can lead to disillusionment and disconnectedness. While these groups serve an important purpose, the time has come to create a centralized office of alumni relations, one that honors the independence of existing alumni bodies while bringing them together to support the institution's broader goals. With a unified approach, we can unlock immense possibilities. For example, creating endowment funds to support research, startups, infrastructure, and scholarships. Second, alumni mentoring programs to guide students and young professionals. Third, global outreach to enhance CMC's visibility and reputation worldwide. The most prominent institutions around the world owe much of their growth and prestige to well-structured alumni engagement. If CMC is to continue shaping leaders in healthcare, research, and service, it must invest in building bridges with every graduate who leaves its gates. A dedicated team and office for the alumni relations are no longer optional. They are essential. Second, expand and strengthen the OT-PT programs. When I joined in 1986, there were only 10 students each in OT and PT. Since then, MBBS seats have increased from 60 to 100. BSc nursing moved on from 50 to 100. The hospital's infrastructure has grown exponentially, including our own rehab institute went from being ground floor alone to adding 2 more floors with increased number of beds. And outpatient numbers in our own gymnasium have jumped from 50 then to over 450 patients every day now. And yet, our intake remains unchanged. By 2026, as per the Government of India's directive, the PT program will expand into a 5-year curriculum with need-based admissions, a transformation we must prepare for now. It's easy for me to stand here as an outsider to say expand and grow, but I understand the practical challenges as well. That's why I urge my fellow alumni, let us offer our resources, our time, talents, networks, and finances to empower this transformation. And this is where my own commitment begins. As a local citizen of Vellore, I promise to volunteer 4 hours a week to this cause. I will take up any task, big or small, because this department made me who I am today. I also know a few CMC's OTPT alumni who are making significant contributions in the world out there. Mr. Vinith Johnson, who became a successful entrepreneur in Canada by building a computerized hand rehabilitation device for the stroke patients. Ms. Anumeha Srivastava, who heads the neuro department of a large AI company in Delhi. Ruben and Hilda, a couple running a non-profit to work with the niche category of disabled children in and around Bangalore. And finally, Mr. Charles and Mr. Babu Samuel, who have built an impressive alternative PT service delivery business right here in Vellore. Our association must leverage to network such aspiring individuals with the current OTPT faculty in CMC and the students to produce a new breed of talented, motivated, and confident professionals. To my fellow alumni, I have a question to ask. Where do you see yourself in this grand vision? We are the products of the sacrifices of Dr. Brand, Dr. Verghese, Mr. Palani, and Ms. Hopkins. Now, our alma mater calls us to give back. I have a dream. This is, if I may paraphrase from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I have a dream where we don't just produce therapists, but entrepreneurs who generate employment and wealth for our nation. I have a dream where doctoral level OTPT faculty walk the corridors of CMC, leading cutting-edge research for product innovation and service delivery alternatives. I have a dream where our departments collaborate with the likes of Stoke Mandeville, the Mayo Clinic, and the Rehab Institute of Chicago, creating indigenous solutions for the disabled in India. And above all, I dream of the day when our alma mater becomes the policy-shaping benchmark for disability care in India. My fellow alumni, let us carry forward this legacy of sacrifice, not as members of a social club, but as agents of lasting change. 3 cheers for the silver and blue. 3 cheers for the silver and blue. God bless CMC and God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. That was really wonderful to hear your words. Thank you once again. Now coming to panel discussion, I guess it's a new segment for you all, but I hope Vinith sir will do justice to this. I invite Vinith sir to moderate the panel discussion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chitu. I just want to say a big thanks to everybody here, but most importantly, Mr. Palani and Mr. Babu, the 2 people who've been my teachers since the day I started here. And I'm also quite happy to have a number of people who kind of like juniors, immediate juniors, your students, students. It's just such an honor to be amongst everybody, and particularly to see how impressive everyone's career has been and what impact they're all making back to CMC, which is not talked about. So the goal of what I'm trying to do with this panel is try and get a few people that can give us an insight into what they do, partly to highlight what they do, but partly to say the alumni are hungry to give back. And I want to make a point that Ruby was kind enough to point out. Palani sir was pointing out, Andrew sir was pointing out, Thomas was pointing out. In 1962, when CMC started physiotherapy, we were kind of like when the first open heart surgery happened in CMC. We were the legends. Nothing beat us. 1992, years later, when I start, we were the creme de la creme on the planet. No matter where you went, CMC graduates were just phenomenal. I have 4 degrees from 3 continents. Even today, I never say which other university I graduated from. I always say I'm a CMC graduate because about 70% of the knowledge I gained in CMC, in physical therapy department, in the neuro department, in the neurosciences department, it was not just one department that taught me. The institution, it takes a village to raise a child, and so they did. And that's why we are proud, and that's why we want to give back. So one humble request to the administration in every which way possible. If you go to any institution anywhere on the globe, a physical therapy department, an occupational therapy department are independent departments. But for some reason, CMC has not moved on from the 1960s. It's high time that we consider. And I say this not for any political reasons. I want to make sure I'm very clear on that. I want to see a CMC, just like everyone else here, something that is made of legends. The ones that we used to be is where we need to get to be. Because there was a time when CMC PTs and OTs were the best. But today that's mixed out. We don't have master's programs. We don't have PhD programs. And I will clearly say this to you. There are a number of us that have masters and PhDs in multiple fields. And every one of us is delighted to contribute, just like Ruby pointed out, in every which way possible, at no cost to the institution, purely to make the department in CMC be the best. I'm sorry for taking too much time, but I just had to pour my heart out with what little time I got. So I'm going to invite Kamaraj, a student, friend, a legend in his own right. And I'm delighted to salute him today and welcome him to a few words.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, good evening to everyone. And it's a joy to be here to see many of my seniors, juniors in this August gathering. And it's also a pleasure to present my topic to the CMC leadership. I want to thank the organizing team for this opportunity that's been given. And the time given is just 5 minutes. So I'll be rushing through. At the same time, I'll be able to share the points. Where is it just? Yeah. Just a brief background, almost 25 years of my experience. I need to speak in 5 minutes, and it's going to take I'll do justice. So 1995, belonged to batch of 95, and did my bond in leprosy mission. And I don't have to say much about the work there. I think Palani sir has already mentioned. And did my master's in disability studies from UCL, and then back in TLM, and worked on leprosy rehabilitation with WHO in India. And 2012, I was able to train physiotherapists in Sri Lanka, and then back to CMC to do my master's in public health. And then the earthquake in Nepal, I think there I was called upon by one of the alumni here, Dr. Ruben Samuel. He was the team lead that time. So he invited me to set up rehabilitation systems in Nepal. So that took me to Nepal. And then there was a mission hospital in Pokhara in Nepal, that Green Pastures Hospital. I worked there. And then there was another earthquake. I think Nepal is earthquake prone. So we were there to kind of set up systems there. And 2025 now, I've been called to Myanmar to set up rehabilitation systems. So I think that's the journey in short. And how does it go next? Okay, click on that. Okay. So Palani sir has already mentioned that. So leprosy work involved much of reconstructive surgery, splinting, and of course the footwear, the protective footwear. So all these are something new for us. I think the curriculum didn't really prepare us. Apart from that 1 week training in Karigiri, we didn't really have. So I learned much of that from there. And you can actually see the kind of work the leprosy mission does. And so it took to the next level. And you all know, I think not everything happens within the hospital. So the community-based services was also an important thing. I think the morning CME spoke much on Ruben and others were involved in that. So basically that gives a glimpse of what happens in the community. And again, creating awareness about leprosy and also involving with the faith leaders and also with the legal fraternity. You can actually see the Chief Justice of India. So we were able to present in some things related to stigma and also both the leprosy rights. And again, training, when you say training, not only happens in the institution or within the colleges, a lot of training happens in the community. So you can actually see the training for the healthcare workers and also for the physiotherapist. Not many physiotherapists knew leprosy. So we developed curriculum for them and then developed, and also self-care training for all the leprosy affected persons. Again, about the earthquake. So again, it's a totally different jump from leprosy to public health and also to injury rehabilitation. I think that is where the cluster framework, I think many of you might know how earthquake response are coordinated. So injury rehabilitation was involved in that, and that is where I was part of it. And again, as I mentioned earlier, with the Green Pastures Hospital in Pokhara, we developed a multidisciplinary team. As you mentioned, rehabilitation doesn't include physiotherapy alone. We have a whole team. So that approach was piloted there. And again, some of the COVID struck, and then we were able to develop some of these advocacy materials as well as patient care materials, communication board. So those are really helpful. And then how to calm and then engage children during COVID. So that was also developed. Tele-rehabilitation, another approach which we tried, because most of the patients were sent back home during COVID. So how to kind of continue the rehabilitation. So some approaches we were able to set up, and then advocating with the government to get prioritization for vaccination. So that was done, and providing accessible transportation, and then empowering the disabled people organization. I think they are the leaders. So you can see them involved in training and also in advocacy. And not every place has the assistive devices. Some of the basic devices which we mentioned, wheelchairs, not all facilities do have it. So we ensure that such facilities or such devices are available in the thing. And again, based on the access, many health facilities do not have access. So we did an audit to find out how they are, and then we were able to discuss it with the superintendent, and so you can actually see how the audit was done. And finally, we were able to kind of group it according to facilities which have access, which need transformation or modification. And the red ones actually says that those are inaccessible. And any report will remain as a report. So we were able to generate funds to make those modifications. And then post-COVID conditions, I think you all must be aware of it. And then such approaches were also tried in Nepal. So these are the manuals which we developed for physiotherapists and also for whole rehabilitation workforce. And when the 2015 earthquake happened, most of the services were centralized. When I say centralized, most of the services were available in Kathmandu. I think over a period of 10 years, we were able to mobilize it to the municipal level. I think that is also one of the things we were able to generate, and healthcare workers were trained of how to manage as well as refer patients. So how did CMC training influence my journey? I think one of the things was the confidence, no? The confidence and the enthusiasm. When we first joined the leprosy mission, you can actually see the joy in me. And it's a complete training. I didn't have to do my master's in physiotherapy. The BPTC was sufficient to kind of provide all that. And the holistic training and the faith and trust. I think when I say faith and trust, both including my faith and trust, and also people, the hospital, and how they look up to me, and they had the trust in me. And of course, I think the last point is on a lighter side. Even the gate actually said, I think one person actually said, I think this guy must be CMC trained. The way the gate, no? So they said, I thought that was a, yes. So challenges, I think language, food, climate, India is a subcontinent. And those days, 2000, we didn't have CME, CRE or whatever. And then rehabilitation was the least priority, and no mentoring training of what we see now. And of course, the funds was a major thing. So I think that now, I think it has gone leaps ahead in terms of the rehabilitation arena as such. You can actually see the 2030 agenda by WHO. You can actually see it cuts across. It was an optional service before, now it's an essential service. And it is always considered as an afterthought or an after event. Now it has actually come even at the early acute stage. You can actually see the global indicators talks about mortality and morbidity. The third important indicator is the functioning, where rehabilitation plays an important role. Yes. And then, so practical ways, I think this is the essence of it. How we can, most of it was already shared by Dr. Thomas Mathews, Mr. Ruby Nakka, and others. I'll just echo what they said. So one of the things is the representation and roles, which has to be inclusive and strategic, and not horizontal relationship, non-hierarchical partnership. And CMC consultation, we've been consulted, or the OPTAA has been consulted, is a starting point. Financing and resources already has been said, but there are some bottlenecks when an alumni wants to support. I don't think it is an easy avenue, is what we found out. So those are some of the things which the CMC administration can take it up. Capacity strengthening, you all know, workshops, training, symposiums, and all that. And horizontal collaboration, I think this was also mentioned by Dr. Thomas Mathews. I think there are many opportunities for in-country as well as cross-country collaborations we can be involved. So it's not only about how alumni supporting CMC, how CMC also can reach out. One of the things, as I mentioned, was the system strengthening. I think we all, WHO or any organization, we want to set up systems. Most hospitals do not have it. CMC has the capacity to build those capacities in hospitals, communities, and in other countries. And a virtual expert pool is also another option which you can consider. Technical advisory group, I think Tito also already mentioned. Andrew sir is already part of the advisory group. So there are many opportunities where CMC alumni can play an important role in policy, guideline development, and even the rehab-related associations are also important thing. And again, next one is very specific to where I work, the emergency medical team. I think you all must be aware, whenever there is a earthquake or any emergencies, you always send an emergency medical team. Now rehabilitation is also part of a EMT, but I'm not sure how many of us are already involved. So there is a potential for rehabilitation or physios to be involved in that, or occupational therapists. Other interventions, I think it's easy. I think when you're working on a public health scale, you can actually generalize many things, but there are many things that has to be culture. I think in the morning CBR, it was already mentioned. So some of the interventions has to be culture sensitive, nature, climate, the global, local, and those things are some of the things which we can take into consideration. Of course, the innovation and can be patented, and those are some of the ways which we can involve. Of course, we can talk much in detail, but this is in a nutshell I would like to share. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
To focus on academics, education, and policy, I'd like to invite a dear friend, student. I'm not sure if I can call him my student. He was just 2 years junior to me, but also a instructive, argumentative collaborator, lack of a better word, Dr. Shivram Shanmugam.
Thank you, Vinit Benjamin Johnson. Good evening to everyone. Pablo, hi. Just to put a context, Pablo was 1 year senior to me in school, and his younger brother was my classmate, and his older brother was my older brother's classmate. It seemed to be there. And hello to Satish and Mr. Andrew and Mr. Palani. Sir, and come and wait. I was having two minds actually to whether to come and stand here and talk about, my experiences. And in fact, I did email to the organizing committee that it might not be a right option for me. So I kind of pulled out, and I was convinced by my classmates to actually go and do the song and dance about my experience as such. Well, I joined physiotherapy in 1994, and a quarter of my classmates are over here, 5 of them here. And we are one of the first cohorts which surprisingly was full of boys. And the whole profession is about 80% girls and about 20% to 10% boys. But it so happened all 10 had to be boys for that particular year. And I'm sure that Mr. Andrew and Mr. Palani had their hands full, and they're still reeling on the trauma which they had experienced 30 years back as such. Anyway, I think my journey started actually as part of my socialization in my particular cohort. They made the biggest difference in terms of who I am. And that cohort situates itself into OPTAA and the CMC ecosystem as such. So who I am and what I did in everything was back to my cohort and my department, the PT and OT and PMR department and CMC as such. And everything is aligned in that particular way. I'm just going to jump 3 years down the line, and during internship, we just had a random department meeting with updates. And towards the end, as an afterthought, the head of department said that we do have Rehab Mela, which happens every year in February. I hope it still does. It does. So you said that it might be a good opportunity for you guys to do some research. And surreptitiously, while the meeting ended and walking through, 3 of us were walking towards the exit door together. It was me, Sundar, and another classmate of mine, Sujay. We said, yeah, we should try this research thing a go. And we approached the head of department. He was kind enough to help us collect data on spinal injury patients at 6 a.m. in the morning and 10 p.m. in the night, and it's quite helpful. And we presented our first paper in 1998. We used EMG on the thorax for the abdominals and net of spine and muscles for mid-thoracic paraplegics and see how they walked and look at EMG patterns. And what we identified at that particular time and used for hip hitching and everything was task-specific training. And we didn't know that at that particular time. We're just playing with toys at that particular time. So that made me interested, and I thought I need to do some higher degrees, and biomechanics and 3D motion analysis was quite interesting. So I was fortunate to get a MSc scholarship from the Department for International Development, DFID, it was known as that particular time, for a fully funded scholarship for MSc in bioengineering at University of Strathclyde in Glasgow. I fell in love with that particular city, and they offered me a PhD. I said, why not? It was never in my plans to do PhD. And now I'm going to jump another 20 years. I'm going to come on to what happened in the last 12 months of my career. I am an associate professor, and my main clinical research is on neurorehabilitation, behavior change, and physical activity in stroke patients. And half the time, I tend to do educational research. Medical education is my specialty. And the School of Health and Life Sciences in the university I teach in is the biggest in Scotland. The whole university is about 26,000 to 28,000 students. And the School of Health and Life Sciences alone has about 12,000 students. And I'm the head of medical education there. And we have about 65 members. My main job is to develop staff and to promote people. And there are 3 other examples of things which I did and which is relevant to the particular crowd over here. As part of my work, I've been invited to be an advisor to the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow. You must be, aware of it. And I sit on the surgical examination board out there, and I influence how the exams are conducted all over the world as such. And I've been invited to be part of a membership group to rewrite the MRCS exam, which is currently happening right now. We finished 100% of the time. The 4 Royal Colleges together, the Irish one, English one, Edinburgh and Glasgow one, are updating the MRCS exams, and I'm part of it. And I'm going to be a 4-member team, which is going to write the code of conduct for the surgeons as well. So that is one thing which an educationalist from a physio is able to be involved in a 400-year-old institution and influence. The second thing which I want to talk about is as a board member for the Council of Interprofessional Education. And that's everyone has to do interprofessional education out there, doctors, dentists, nurses, social workers, AHPs, everybody as such. And I've been a part of 4-member team, the head of standards for GMC and 2 professors in medicine. All 4 of us got together and we wrote the quality standards for all healthcare education in the UK. And we're going to have the launch in the House of Lords in October 7th as such. So the influence in terms of how you could actually go and keep on doing work is not just within the discipline. It could be at a national level. It could be working with other professions as well. So coming back to what we could actually offer back, we are doing so much outside. We can influence and shape and work with houses of lords and influence governments and policies and quality standards over there. But we are not able to. I personally have tried for 20 years and I'm not able to aid anything in terms of offering. And every time I come and say, I would like to do something about it, it's all wishes and nods as such. I think people have talked at length about what they could do, but I'm just going to go back to what Thomas, Mike, and Ruby said. Available, and please leverage us on whatever we can. Happy to contribute.
I can steal your phone. I'd like to invite Dr. Abraham Samuel Babu to focus on research and guidance-based, evidence-based practice. Someone who's made us all proud across the spectrum. He always volunteers his time to do frequent webinars and educational sessions, and also has been a consultant for a number of our students, even though he's not part of the CMC system for more than 20 years now. Please.
Thank you, sir. Respected principal, vice principal, dignitaries, heads, and ladies and gentlemen. I belong to the batch of 2001 at CMC Vellore, and I think that was just the starting point for me. And I've been able to go on and do much, much more beyond that. I had the opportunity to do my bond, which I know I was talking to students today, a lot of them are very afraid, as I was. But I found those 2 years to be probably extremely formative and also fueled my skills or my interest in research and also strengthened my clinical skills. I had the opportunity to do a master's in cardiopulmonary sciences at the Manipal Academy of Higher Education, where I was given the opportunity to join in as a faculty after that, pursue my PhD in cardiac rehab. And after finishing my PhD in 2017, I wanted to do one more degree. My wife, Nisha, said she needs a break of at least 5 years. So in 2024, I had crossed the time period and I applied for the MSc in clinical trials at Oxford, where I've secured full funding to pursue the master's program at Oxford. And it's the 5th cohort of 20 students that they take each year. 400 apply around the world and only 20 are taken. And I'm proud to say I'm the only physio to be represented in those 5 cohorts. I also hold honorary positions in the Department of Cardiology at Austin Health in Melbourne and also the University of Glasgow. My influence of CMC in my life began well before I came here. This is an old picture, and this is my father, who worked very closely with Dr. H.S. Butt, who was a pioneer in urology. My father did his MS and MCH here. And not just him, his entire family, his 2 brothers, their children, my mother's brothers, cousins. It's a huge family that's there. I've grown up with a lot of CMC ethos in my life. And I think it started even before I even came here to Vellore. And from 2001, like we heard, home became the Department of PMR, those steps outside, and we have all sat there and had our coffees. And the Department of Physiotherapy was home. I've had mentors who have trained me beyond the 4 walls of the Department of PMR. all research that I learned was because one man took interest in giving me time. In the middle of his busy OPDs, he would still call me in and say, "Sit, Abraham. No hurry." He would spend 1 hour in between patients to explain research to me, help me secure my first intramural funding in my second and third year. Oration helped me publish. Henry's given me so much of practical things that it still stays even now. Probably the only thing he hasn't got me to do is run and lose weight, but otherwise I think we've done other things. Dr. Roy Kurla fueled my interest in cardiac rehab. I still remember coming for a college day function and he comes up running with a huge packet of papers printed out, Monet. And then, this is for you. It was a circulation article on cardiac rehab guidelines. This is when I was doing my bond. And that was the paper that saw me through. Batch of 94's representative Sundar. It's gone beyond and we have shared so much together. And, it just goes that the Alumni Association is strong. And not to mention my batch. I learned so much. CMC teaches you to learn from so many people. You're our classmate of 10 and 10, 20 that were there. The qualities I have learned from all of you, you have no idea how much I have learned. Integrity, hard work, trust, to be dedicated in the smallest thing you do. So much I have learned, and there is a lot. But life in Vellore is not only about all of this. This played a very important role. Yes, that is a very young Bablu and Asha in the middle. Very, very young. Music was a very important part. Faith will agree that music was important. And all of this in Chapel, St. John's, and Living Waters only strengthened faith in God. And that was a strong driver for me. And that's something you don't get anywhere. This has helped me be accomplished in my field, especially in the area of cardiac rehab, with a lot of publications, book chapters, funding as from both national and international sources as PI, co-PIs, and collaborators. But mentoring has always been very dear to me because I am where I am because I was mentored by people. And doctoral mentoring, undergrad, PhD students are all something that I have gained a lot. And this has placed me in positions with very well-reputed journals to be on editorial boards and associate editor levels. But all of this was with a strong clinical foundation in the area of cardiac rehab, critical care, and resuscitation. And the reason I was able to do this was because I had professional and clinical autonomy to grow. I had independent decision-making. I was solely responsible for the patient. I communicate directly with the treating physician with no intermiddle person. And that gave me a lot of accountability and helped me expand to a very great extent, which also went beyond clinical services into research, where I did a lot of translational research with animal models, clinical trials, and now implementation science research. All of these have placed me well in international bodies where I now hold leadership positions with various cardiac organizations, had the opportunity to work with WHO, and also nationally, where we are now currently developing cardiac rehab guidelines for the Indian context. In terms of impact, a lot of this is available from published literature. We know all of these metrics. But the impact of the work has gone to integrating cardiac rehab into national STEMI guidelines, which is published by the Cardiology Society of India. My PhD work has formed the basis for exercise and pulmonary hypertension, which is now becoming very rampant. A lot of people are using it, the same components, and it's gaining importance. And also a new upcoming World Heart Federation roadmap on cardiac rehab, which will be launched in August. All of these together have probably the impact of small work that began in a mission hospital, but started with interests that were laid here. And I'm sure there is more to come. Some of the challenges, we all face these roadblocks to growth, finding the right people, acceptance, and willingness to change. There are avenues for collaboration. A lot of it has already been meant. Clinical skill development, mentorship, training, specialty development, capacity building, and research through joint supervision. A few suggestions that I would like to leave to the administration. Think about clinical and professional autonomy, because that enhances growth, enhances research freedom. Engage alumni as adjunct faculty. They can contribute in immense ways. It's good to have a vision document for departments to have a path that they want to walk. And look at developing special interest groups that cross-cut all departments within the institution, outside the institution, and across alumni. Thank you for your attention.
I'd like to invite Ms. Stuti Chakravarti for a virtual presentation on emerging leadership and health innovation. Another one superstar who worked on multiple projects beyond the country before she left CMC and continues to excel outside the country. Stuti, over to you.
All right. Can you all hear me and see my screen?
Stuti, just a minute. Yeah, Stuti, you can check.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, continue.
Okay, great. Well, good evening, everyone. Good morning for me. I am dialing in today from Southern California. And hi, everyone. My name is Stuti Chakrabarti, and I am from the BOT class of 2015, so probably more younger alumni. And today I will be presenting on leadership in health innovation. Thank you so much to OPTAA for giving me this opportunity to share about my journey so far. And I really hope to resonate and connect with more younger early career professionals and also our really strong alumni network. So my so far very early career has been pretty non-linear. The first diagram shows point A to point B. You start somewhere and you end somewhere. That has been far from what my journey has been. It has been a combination of a lot of things. So I got my bachelor's in occupational therapy, just like many of you in the room. And then I, for a while, was really interested in pursuing a career in public health. So I worked a lot with different public health organizations, Healthcare Information for All. I worked with the United Nations Major Group for Children and Youth, also represented India at the primary conference in adopting healthcare, primary healthcare, organized by the World Health Organization. Some work that I did on disability policy and assisting the divide in addressing assistive technologies in high-income versus low and middle-income countries was presented at the United Nations Commission on Science and Technology for Development. And all of this was going on while I was doing my bond. So I had my 9 to 5 or 8 to 5. And then after that, I really just took off and delved deeper into how can I make an impact from sitting in my apartment in Vellore. And then I sort of realized that all of this is great, but I really wasn't able to find my niche in public health. So I pivoted into neuroscience research. And during this time, people like Rani ma'am, Vineet sir, Prabhakar sir from neurology, Jewel from the 2006 batch, like very, very amazing people who really supported my career growth during this time. So I'm really thankful to them. Right now, I am at this point in my career, which is like really just getting started. There's going to be more changes and pivots, which I'm not, I'm happy to stay along and see where that goes. So I'm right now rising 4th year at the USC, University of Southern California in Los Angeles. My research focuses on the neurobiology of brain stroke recovery. And my methods are really focused on neuroscience and neurobiology, a combination of neuroinformatics and big data neuroimaging. So I work with large data sets and a little bit of machine learning as well. So my time at CMC Vellore, it was not without challenges. The struggle was real, but so was the growth. I kind of really want to echo everything that people before me said about the leadership, the decision-making skills, working around scarce resources, all of those things, planning, decision-making, really came from my time with OPTAA. Some of the contributions that I want to highlight during my time to OPTAA, to the CMC community, as well as the larger community, are over here on the screen. We started the OPTAA newsletter. Our governing body was the first to sort of roll it out, where we really wanted to showcase the work that OPTAA was doing, but at the same time, like sort of connect alumni's contributions with people in OPTAA, so that students were aware of what alumni had been up to, because this is something that I felt was really lacking when I was a student, because I was interested in research, I was interested in innovation, and all of these amazing people were doing all of these things, so many senior alumni, and I had no way to sort of know. So I used to remember messaging Lenny sir sometimes, or Vineet sir, and be like, do you know this person? Do you know this person? And really finding out like who is where. And so we really thought that this would help streamline the efforts. And I hope it's in circulation still. I did see version a couple of months ago. So yeah, please continue that. And then the other thing that we worked on was AHS Cognitio, because, you know, at that time, we did have the research day, but we didn't really have a platform for AHS students to showcase the amazing research work with their peers that they had been doing. And the Cognitio had been running for medical students for many years. And I think in 2019, we sort of like picked up the baton and we said, let's do it for us as well. And, you know, we were able to showcase our research to undergraduates from around the country and really help move that forward. I'm not sure if it's still being continued, but would love to see it being continued in the future. And then something I want to talk about that I did personally was start a nonprofit initiative to raise awareness about the brain sciences and STEM fields, especially with the focus on educating young women and girls. We were able to successfully launch this initiative during the pandemic. I had a co-founder who was a science communicator, another co-founder who is currently like a senior at Harvard. So we had a really good run during the pandemic. We were able to take opportunities of virtual programming and deliver workshops to students and schools from around India, partner with Girl Up. And also, you know, we were recognized by Dana Foundation, by Brain Awareness Week for all of our community outreach efforts. And we also were able to organize one of the largest student-led neuroscience conferences in the country, where we had like more than 30 plus speakers. And I'm really thankful to the people, my peers at CMC during this time, who were really along with me for the journey. This logo was actually designed by Elijah from the batch of 2016. So yeah, this was all like really fun times. And, you know, I was, in my heart, I never really wanted to end up being a clinician. So that was just me. And so I was doing all possible things during my bond to keep myself engaged and still give back to the community outside of being a clinician. And that, in the sense, was the beginning of my realization that the world is so much bigger. And I hope I can share that with you all. All right, so really quickly, applying my robust clinical knowledge experiences to drive innovation and impact. My time at USC and in LA in general, I live in California, which is like the hub of innovation in the world. So I am really happy to be here. And one of the things I noticed after coming here is the alumni network. And that is the reason why I actually chose to come to grad school here. Is like I can reach out to anyone, any person on LinkedIn that has been to my school, and you know, I'm very sure to get a response from them. And like, you know, getting help from alumni is like a deal here. It's a big deal here. We have a huge network, huge alumni reunions. So I really wish we can have that in CMC as well. And I'm really glad that we're taking steps to establish that. All the things that I learned in the hospital, even though I'm not a practicing clinician anymore, I can say that all the things that the robust, complex medical complications that we dealt with, the individual patient decision-making skills, like what do I do with this particular patient? All of those things I still apply very much in my innovation and research journey even today. Just one really quick example. Here's me giving like a presentation at the Caltech Longevity Hackathon just a couple of months ago, where we won a prize. I led a team of 4 engineers to develop this computer vision assisted joint health assessment application platform that was going to use 3D computer vision and 3D motion capture to predict like a risk, along with blood test reports to predict risk of low-grade systemic inflammation, or and give you an inflammate score, which tells you your risk of having inflammation and how that's going to impact your longevity. And so I really used my time from working with people with inflammation, working with people in the clinic, in outpatient, and like really was able to apply that knowledge to develop this sort of an application software. And we are currently in the process of prototyping the MVP and doing more market validation to understand what the need for the product is, and excited to launch it out further. So the curriculum that we had in the occupational therapy department, really thankful to all the staff in the department who did a really good job of like teaching us about clinical stuff, because that really helped drive a lot of the knowledge that I have today. I have seen some curricula from some of the best universities here in the US, also other parts of the world. I really do feel like nothing can really beat this. So my words of wisdom for those starting out their careers right now, I really feel like OTs and PTs need to take the lead on building and innovating. We are really good at following protocol, executing things, and getting things done in the clinical world, in the healthcare world, maybe even in public health or policy. But I do want to really emphasize that the world is much bigger than that. There's so much more that you can do with all the skill set and the expertise that you have. Be a disruptor, question beliefs, practices, systems, and rigidity. I feel like I was doing this all the time. Someone before me, one of the presenters mentioned about, I think it was Thomas Sir, presented about like having exchange programs. I really feel like that would have helped me so much. And because I wasn't able to find an avenue to do it for when I was a student, I just went ahead and did it myself. So, I'm really happy to have those conversations with people and guide people, and really hopeful that people are able to the students right now are able to get exposure to what's happening around the world, so that it gives them, it really helps them build their expertise as well. I really want to emphasize about leveraging AI and working smart. Don't use it to replace your critical thinking skills, but help it to automate mundane tasks and build workflows for multidisciplinary collaboration. I feel like if you're coming out as an early career professional into the world right now, there's absolutely no way that you can neglect the dominance of AI. And I live in California, so it's absolutely not possible for me to think about doing my work without leveraging AI. I'm really, really using it to really help improve my productivity and efficiency. Think about how you can work better with AI. And another very important thing that I learned is building or working towards something big comes from lots of failures and pivots. For the longest time, I thought I wanted to be a public health researcher. And then I was like, I want to be a neuroscientist. And now I'm like, I don't even know. I think I want to be an entrepreneur, an innovator. So it's like really constantly changing my mind, but like not changing my mind just to be like, forget about it one day and the next. You want to learn lessons from all the things that you do and then apply them to your whole big picture thing. So yeah, I really hope that this is able to help some people guide their decisions. I really want to quickly highlight about Hinge Health. And then this big statement is can the next Fortune 500 CEO be a CMC Vellore OTPT alumnus? And I really want to ask you this, like, why not? Hinge Health is this company that IPO'd earlier this year. So they are basically listed as a publicly traded company on New York Stock Exchange. And it was started by a PhD student from Oxford who had a musculoskeletal injury and received physical therapy treatment. And so that really made me thinking, I looked up their leadership, and while they have maybe started employing PTs to execute the programs, there isn't really an entrepreneur or someone on the team who has that background of PT. So I'm like, like as a co-founder or leadership level. So I'm like, why can't a PT or an OT do this? It's great for other people. It's great for engineers to be launching these platforms, but I think it's about time that we ourselves started these big businesses or started these entrepreneurship venues and ventures, because we really have the expertise and very much the capability to do so. So my call to action really here, just quickly leaving it out there, is to establish an innovation fund or corpus to help the current students or maybe even alumni in different parts of the world. There are so many people that come to my mind that I really want to talk to more about this. So really happy to sort of get this conversation going. And if you're interested to talk more about this, please reach out. And I just really want to have a two-way conversation about how we can take this forward. This is some photos from my time as a student. Really thankful to my batchmates. I feel like most of us were disruptors in our own way. We were always rebelling and trying to, make change and get things done. So I'm really thankful to all of them for staying along with me through this journey. And yeah, thank you. Let's connect. I dropped my LinkedIn and my email, and very happy to stay in touch. Thank you.
I'm going to invite our last speaker. To me, she is an idol that I look up to. She's much junior to me, and what she's achieved, what she continues to do, has inspired us all collectively every day. And she is a testament to the word of what Dr. Ida Scudder stood for. And this is one of our great shining stars. Sharel.
Oh, dear Lord. Good evening, everybody. It's such an honor. Palani sir, Andrew sir, Bablu sir. I remember a time when somebody was talking about Dr. Solomon Satish, and I was wondering who's Dr. Solomon Satish, and now as many of you might know, I got married to my college sweetheart. Immediately 6 months of my bond, I got married to Dennis, who was my MBBS batchmate, 2003. And he had a service obligation at this wonderful place, Lady Wellington Hospital, Manali. And that's where I moved in. And that's where this unexpected journeys began. I was like that little hobbit going on an adventure. And my adventure was, this should lead me to get me a ticket to the US or Australia, because I had a very negative experience of somebody asking a 4.5-year degree, technically qualified graduate to do something they're not trained for. If I was trained into medical records, I would have loved to do that, but I wasn't trained for that. So that was the intention at which I entered this journey. Now, I think these two pictures, they are going to stay with me for a very long time. The first picture is where we were doing roadside clinics. That handsome chap, you cannot see him, that's my dear husband. He was there on the roadside clinic, and we had a lot of Nepali migrant patients coming in for the roadside clinic. And I was wondering, no, this was in Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh has very good public health indicators. And I would wonder, why do these patients come for roadside clinics but do not enter to the hospital? So let's see what's happening. Now that's the patient. So this is me. I'm flashing my wedding ring there. I was just newly married, 1 week married, and I had started seeing patients. And that's the kid. This kid came in with spina bifida. This is 2009. And I was therapist then, giving therapy to him. And I was always wondering, this mother who brings the child carries him piggyback. Now she climbs down the mountain, drops the child for therapy. The husband is at that time, they had a shop in Manali. And so they were just juggling and bringing the child in, getting the child out. And to me, that was, I just couldn't understand, how was this mother doing this? And I remember, I have seen this child for 18 months of therapy, and I would come back and literally cry and say, I cannot be a physiotherapist. There's too much of burden to carry. These patients, these women come to us with so much of pain. And is that all? Is there something else I can do for them? And I could never put myself in a position to have, and that's an irony, to have a child with a disability or different challenges. Now, that led me to believe, is there something more that we could do for them? And so that was there always at the background. Then the thing with Manali, Himachal Pradesh, there were constant avalanches, there were disasters, and we were part of rescue teams. And again, I felt, is there something I could do to help them, help these people? And the biggest challenges that people in those areas faced was access to healthcare. And if there was access, they were not utilizing. Why were they not coming to the hospital? Why? I mean, Himachal Pradesh has a robust system. Why are these people, what's happening? What's keeping them away? And the other thing I realized was the stigma. Now, I'm going to talk about that a little later. I know we have time. I'm short of time, and there's so much I want to pump into this, but yeah, I'll just keep going. And stigma was a thing. And so when I was struggling with these questions, I kept asking myself, what do I do to understand these situations better, to understand these problems better? And then my dear husband suggested, let's get into public health. Maybe you will be able to find solutions to these problems. Fine, let's go. I came back to Vellore. That was the time Dennis was doing his MS, and I was doing my public health. And again, 2 years of intense training. I enjoyed my time at CHAD. I would suggest MPH program here to anybody. You are there sitting with pioneers. You are working and doing such great and amazing things there. You get to learn from them. Our seniors, I have so many juniors who finished the public health program. So yes, again, now I have done my MPH and I'm going to change the world. I'm going to do great and big things. So there. And okay, that led me back to Manali, back to Himachal Pradesh. And now I understood we are all in the business, in the pursuits of healing. What is healing? And all the questions and all the answers which I had, oh, public health is going to solve problems, were all wrong. We are in the pursuit of healing. And healing is not only the individual. When we came down here a few years ago for my son's diagnosis, my son is diagnosed to be on the autism spectrum, Dr. Paul Russell said something very beautiful. He said, Your son is healing, and so are you. So is your husband. So is your extended family member, and so is the community. Healing is not only one person. Healing is much more beyond, and healing goes on. And that completely changed the way I looked at my work in the missions, my work in rural hospitals. We work for the pursuits of healing. And my dear friends, that is what CMC has taught me. We don't give treatments. We don't give therapies. We work towards healing. The other thing I realized that we need to work on behavior changes. And how do we change behavior? We don't change behavior at random. We need to work. We need to get awareness. We need to educate people. And with that, those equipments in my hand, I tried and started moving onwards. And that led to us designing various public health programs in Himachal Pradesh, in Manali. We worked. So that's me in the yellow dress. I would always find opportunity, no matter what's going on, to go and teach some exercises. People sitting in the OPDs, go teach them exercises. We are going out into the community, teach exercises. Exercises help, movement help, therapies help. Let's keep moving. And then there was this other program that we had. We had this program on public health, road safety. And how do we reach out? How do we talk to people? What do we say? Let's go on the roads. Let's do a road show. Manali is a tourism place. Let's go. Let's talk about road safety. Let's talk about wearing helmets. And that gave us great opportunities to work and think beyond the box. And where did I learn that? Here at my alma mater. Then we moved on. Yeah, it was time for us to go to the land of the tribals. This was very different. We were now in Chhattisgarh. We were working with the really tribal belts in the country and Naxalites. And what do? Well, we are still in the pursuit of healing. No matter whom we see, no matter what we do, we are going to work out. We are going to work with people, their bodies, their minds, their families, and we are going to work towards healing. So that's me. That's how it begins. So where do we work? We work in the gaps. Maternal and child health is the focus of the government of India. But what do we focus on? We focus on areas where the government does not focus. Care for the elderly. We know that the entire Chhattisgarh is a sickle cell belt. That's where we worked. Mental health, school health, and of course, neurodiversity, because that was something very personal to me. Now, unapologetically, all our work in this area has been with a lot of Christ-centered attitudes. It has been in areas where we knew that we were to serve without being served. And our programs were designed in such a way that they were compassionate, they were holistic, cost-effective, and we worked with quality. So I just have a lot of pictures because this is almost 15 years of work. So we worked with the elderly. We had a lot of inclusive teaching, training teachers to identify children with various learning challenges, sensory challenges. How do we help them integrate these children? Because, see, this is Chhattisgarh. Nobody knows about autism. They don't talk about autism. What is autism? Mad. And we don't have mad children in our classes. So that's the attitude. We need to change this attitude. And this was definitely a personal agenda for us. Then, working in a mission hospital, as you can see, the structures were all ready to fall on all our heads. And then we decided, well, we work in a mission hospital, but that does not need to be falling structures. We're going to work for them. We are going to generate income and rebuild everything. And lo and behold, we did that. Dennis and I, we worked towards, we renovated our stuff, we renovated the hospitals, and I'm so happy to say that none of it was on a single penny received from outside. We generated our own income. These are all the other projects that we have done. I'm going to run through these slides. and I'm going to speak, take a minute, yes, sir. I'm so sorry. Talk about COVID-19. COVID-19 was a time where we really saw strength and resilience. And I think a lot of that came from CMC. There were times when my husband and I had conversations about what if we do not make it out alive? Who's going to take care of the children? Because Dennis was in and out of isolation. I was taking care of the hospital. I was taking care of patients. We had the worst mortality rates in our hospital because all the sick patients came to us. Why did they come to us? Because the community trusted us. They knew that even if their family members were to die, they will die with dignity. We will give loving farewells to those families. And that's something, I will not use the word pride. I'm so delighted to be able to do all of this. Where does that come from? I was a hobbit that took the unexpected journey. Also, we reached out to a lot of our alumni asking for, we need help, we need donations. And within 15 days, believe me, Dennis's classmates and OPTAA alumni, we were able to raise 50 lakh rupees in 15 days. I am amazed. There's so many of y'all who've supported us. And this was able to fire and fuel our hospital. So much so that all the hospital debts were paid off. I'm going to finish here. The last area where we worked is among the Bega tribes. The Bega tribes of the tribal reserves of Kanha Tiger Tribal Reserve in Madhya Pradesh. And we have been able to do an amazing job. Now, how did I do that? Because at the same time, I was facing personal challenges. These were the challenges I faced with my son. I have seen stigma. I have seen it face to face. But I think the grit that it is my training year that gave me the grit to face these challenges. This is my last slide, and I know I've run out of my time. There's incredible work that therapists are doing in rural India. Therapists are doing amazing work, especially our alumni. Our alumni, Ashish Giri, I can speak, he's gone to Oxford, he came back, he's supporting Hand Himachal project, is going to go back to Oxford for his PhD program. Hand Himachal is his pet project. We have the Inaugural project that goes on in Herbertpur, all led by therapists. And they are doing an amazing job. So now, once again, why was I able to, I'm going to finish now with the last food for thought. Why do you think I was able to do what I was able to do? Because I received autonomy in what I was doing. I was given freedom. Yes, because I was working with my husband, so I had the freedom to do a lot of work, but that helped me rise and shine. I think therapists, especially in the rural mission hospitals, will do amazing work, will contribute greatly if they are given the autonomy to do that. Thank you.
As you can see, there was a small little flare of few exceptional examples. We can go on these examples. What I want to highlight on that is, these are our kids, CMC kids, who couldn't shine the same way in CMC. But they could do the same thing outside. In India or in California, we shine like the superstars, but we can't do that in CMC in India. We should change that. So sorry to keep going on that. I'd like to request Dr. Solomon Satish Kumar, I'm going to stick to the name, to kindly give your thoughts. The whole goal of this was not to point out what all is, rather to find out how we could contribute in any way you think we should.
Thank you, Vineet. Just to say that it's been a great evening. I've not looked at my watch from the time I came in. Amazing talks, Mr. Palani. Wow, 90 years, he was on the dot. Thank you, Dr. Thomas Mathew, for your talk, for your inspiring talk, for your suggestions. Every talk has been good. Ruby Nakka, as usual. Now, what can I do? That's the challenge he always leaves with us. I think OPTAA has been very close to my heart because as a campus kid, my dad, I think, has taught every batch and he held everybody in great regard. And then when I joined CMC, a lot of you here are my contemporaries. We've had great times. And then finally, when I became faculty, I started teaching the OTPT students, and I had great regard for them and for what you guys do. I think the contribution of, when I say OPSA, I'm referring to you as professionals to patient care is just invaluable. You can't define it. You can't. It just goes beyond what Thomas Mathews said. No, a doctor spends time in consultation, but the actual therapy, and Sharel took it to the next level, the healing process, which you are involved in. It's just amazing. And I want to just acknowledge that each one of you, I know we had 5 speakers. That's all the time we had for. But if each one of you has to talk on the transformation that you're making wherever you are, I'm sure you're transforming not only lives, but families and communities. And I think that's what CMC makes us, takes the ordinary and makes them extraordinary, as Thomas Mathews said, took the ordinary Malayali and made them extraordinary. Just a response to all the comments and suggestions that have been made. I think as an administration, we are really open. We want to move from excellence to excellence, excellence with relevance. I think that is what we want to do. And I know that so many of you have spoken. Just Shivram, hi Shivram. Great to hear that he is an expert in education. And when I see the whole allied health education, so many innovations, right? I don't think the way allied health is being taught here I don't think it's comparable. The clinical experience, the wealth, it's just phenomenal. And I'm like telling people, why don't you write this up? Why don't we showcase what we're doing? So Shivram, I'm just straight away, telling you, we need to work together. I think I just want to say that, thank you. I could see a lot of pride in each one of you, right? I am a CMC alumni, right? And you want to contribute. And I want to say, I just want to open up and say, as the principal, we welcome your contributions, and I'm going to work closely with the teams here. And I also want to congratulate the teams here, for staying here. You need some people to stay here to keep it going. And I want to congratulate all those who stayed here and said, this is the place I want to be in, and continue the legacy. So maybe we should give a hand for all those who stayed here. And the good news is that we have the alumni who are willing to put in whatever in terms of your academic inputs, research inputs, collaborations, whatever human resource contributions for something in terms of monetary. There's lots of ways in which you can contribute, and we really look forward to that. We really look forward to that, and I hope this OPSA Alumni Reunions also is held more often. I want to thank Margaret. Margaret, I think, is doing a great job. Trying to pull everybody together. It's not easy because now you're here for 3 days, and once you go back, right, everybody gets stuck with their own work, right? Everybody is so busy. Everybody gets stuck with their own work. But I think the office bearers are doing a good job to bring everybody together to see what we can do together. So I just want to say once again that all your suggestions are welcome. Also, I want to just highlight that in the last 2-3 years, we've started quite a few master's courses, and I want to just congratulate the leadership here. We have an MPT. We started 3 MOTs in the last few years, and I know some of our faculty are doing PhDs right now, and I'm sure in another few years they would be no PhD teachers and guiding students in PhD, but we need your support. We really need your support to take things up. And no, we have the consultation going on. I'm sure Thomas is going to speak a little bit on that, where we are looking for no input, and alumni are big stakeholders. And I want you to feel welcome, huh? Right? It's so good to see all of you. I think I'll just stop there. Thank you for coming all the way. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Dr. Satish Solomon Selvam to give your thoughts. Once again, really appreciate your thoughts.
Good evening, everyone. I know I'm standing between you and the dinner that is to follow. I'm not going to take much, but I would like to especially welcome all the extramural alumni who have made it to CMC. I understand that about 40 or 50 of you had come over here. I'm extremely privileged and honored to be here amongst you for this inaugural ceremony. For those who have not still recognized me or trying to associate me with a badge, I think everybody has said a badge and kind of labeled them to that badge. For all the OTs and PTs, batch of 1994, we went for COP together. So if you have not recognized, for the batch of 19, Nanjukundapuram, yes, yeah. For the batch of 1995, we've had many volleyball matches, basketball matches, and yes, all those lovely interactions. So yeah, so all the interactions and all the prank calls that you made from the hostels to me when I stayed, I will not forget. So I think that we will have a discussion over dinner. Yeah. Anyway, on a serious note, for all the suggestions and feedback, thank you. We have noted, like Babu mentioned, we do have master's program. We are going to have the first set of, I think it's coming out strong. Somehow it seems that the start of these programs have not gone out to other alumni. We got 3 programs in OT already. The first set of students are going to write the final year exams this year, will be graduating soon. And PT already are a few batches who have already graduated, and one more on the pipeline for PT, which is on towards the proposal to the university. Also, NCAP is coming a big way. When I say NCAP, National Commission for Allied Health and Professions, is coming a big way, where everything is going to be nationalized and with one single curriculum across the country. So things are likely to change with how things are going to be run in the country. So that is something we are strongly looking out for. Just to let you know, among the 10 categories, we have representations from CMC into 7 at least, looking at the curriculum and structuring the syllabus at the Tamil Nadu level, representing the council. About the seats that you kept talking about, I know we had 10 seats when I was there, 10 OT and 10 PT seats. We have not increased. Limitation, obviously, is the accommodation. Of course, we don't want to compromise on the campus life, so that is why we are keeping it strong, that we don't want to expand without any plans and thought for the future. But let me assure you, we are strongly and actively looking for a place. We have identified a place for the hostels. We have got the plans ready. We are in the verge of raising funds. We will reach out to you for help in whatever contribution that you can make. Thank you again. And thank you, Margaret and Andrew Sen, for the invite and having me here. Thank you and good night.
Like my time in CMC with Babu, had a long storied time with Dr. Thomas Samuel Rao. I'd like to invite you to both share your thoughts and also provide us your suggestions on where things go. What do you want from us? and what you see as the pathway where we could contribute directly, indirectly. I think one point that someone was pointing out, an adjunct status for a lot of alumni, where the CMC doesn't pay anything, but at the same time, for example, in PT, I think there's only one master's program as opposed to OT, which has 3. And partly, if maybe there are a couple of neuroscience PhDs who could provide an adjunct status, CMC would it'll allow CMC the position to do that. So if there's anything we can do, we'd be delighted to.
Yeah, some things we can do straight away, and the adjunct faculty position is a possibility, right? We have on the medical side, adjunct faculty, why not? Why not? No, so the alumni could work with us, the Alumni Association, right? And through the physiotherapy department or the occupational therapy department, no, they have to recommend and say, no, we want this person to be an adjunct faculty for such and such a reason. And yeah, why not, right?
That's the CMC I studied in. That's the CMC we know. Dr. Ram, would I kindly request you for your final words, and thank you so much.
Good evening, dear friends. Thank you, OPTAA. Thank you, Margaret, for giving me this opportunity. And I know that I'm there between some good food waiting for all of you. But before that, we have to do the homework because we have discussed a lot about, it's wonderful to listen to what is happening. It was like a spectrum of what our vision statement is, right? I heard emphasis on we are in the business of healing ministry of Christ. I heard excellence in education, service, research, which is like a tool towards our higher purpose, what we have. So it gives actually, I mean, is bang the buck. I can say that the amount of input which goes into all of you, and I may use the word bang the buck because it's a highly subsidized education. And when we listen to the story, it is worth doing this kind of education, right? So we are on the crossroads, not only in the institution as 125 years, but also in the healthcare scenario in a country and in the world, right? The way the direction of healthcare is going, the perception of healthcare. If you read the news, big real-time investors are looking at as a low-hanging fruit. For them, healthcare is the best ROI, right? But when we listen to your story, our bottom line has been transformational impact. And I really thank God as we listen to some of you who shared, and if we talk to all of you, I'm sure all of you have a story, right? So as we are entering 125 years, right? And this vision statement which we carry and which we have been telling, we are the few institutions in the whole world whose vision statement has lasted for more than a century. Because many organizations adapt to what is happening in the world. They want to be in sync with the thinking of the world, right? And they don't hesitate sometimes even to remove what has been the center of our vision statement is the healing ministry of Christ. So as we are going, we have this process, what we call is consultation. And sometimes we think consultation is just about strategic planning, right? Or operational level of planning. But actually don't need consultation because now the way CMC is grown, if I ask physiotherapy or OT department what you need in the 5 years, they'll tell me in 5 days time. They know the space, they know the HR, they know the equipment, that they'll tell us in 5 days time. And the issue about consultation is not about that. It's not about the method. It is about taking a pause, reflecting about who is CMC and what are we here for. What is the reason for us of why we are here and what we want to become. So we are taking a pause as a consultation, and this is the 6th time we're going to do it. The first one was in the 1980s. It was following a big crisis which happened in the institution. So I can say the process has started from September onwards. And as we are reaching out to all stakeholders, that's why I've been after Margaret every time, and we created a separate form for all of you. We are reaching out to all the stakeholders globally, the alumni network. We have spent almost 3 to 4 months just framing how we should go about this. We took a lot of time. We have a core group who's been guiding us on that. And based on the feedback, what we were getting, we have reached a stage where we have about 18 areas of discussion, apart from our core areas of education, patient care, research. And I'm so happy that many of you are talking the language of entrepreneurs, innovation, startups. And that is one of the big domain what is under discussion right now. So I've been coordinating this since almost October now. And we are planning a big conclave in September, which is going to be for 5 days. And we have reaching out to the institution, meeting all the departments, been to the physiotherapy department, OT department. The entire PMR department was one of the largest gathering we had in Paul Brand block. Just to remind all of us that we are in the business of the healing ministry of Christ. And it is so, I can say, overwhelming to see that many a times you think that I'm not sure next generation will carry the values of the institution. But let me tell you, there are people who have that heart to carry the values of the institution. We need to just develop a place how we can nurture them and grow them. And as we are getting feedback, and I'm happy that I got a formal feedback of about at least 5 of you gave a very detailed feedback on the form which I got. And I also listening to all the presentations. I was making notes. And many of the things what you have shared in this presentation, it kind of synchronizes with some of the feedbacks which I've got. So I know the time is short, but I'm going to actually give you just the feedback which some of your friends have given. And it's very, very interesting. So in our interaction, we asked 3 questions. What are the big picture questions which you need to consider in the next 10 years? Right? Just don't say, I want this space, I want this equipment. These are big picture questions. And we have collected more than 300 feedbacks from globally, I can say, and also in the institution. But one of the important thing which we are getting, at least from the 5 feedback which I got, is strengthening regional health equity. I feel very proud of that. Right? It is about how we can develop low-cost, high-impact rural outreach. How can we reach underserved geographies? We just heard the story. When the world is going towards, the big cities, you guys are going towards at the margins, right? Non-traditional partnerships, right? We just heard interdisciplinary collaboration, healthcare delivery and sharing Christ's message, right? Again, the thought which came out that we're in the business of the healing ministry of Christ. Also, embed social justice, community immersion, and servant leadership in the core curriculum. Very amazing feedback. Thank you for that. And also train the graduates to serve where the need is greatest, not where is easiest. Very deep thoughts in this feedback. Also safeguarding our mission integrity amidst this changing world. We are pressurized because everywhere, incentives are there, various kinds of incentives are there. But how can we remain mission true? How can we remain true to our calling? Is very interesting feedback what we're getting. And then comes to the operational part. What I see is expanding into like sports medicine, rehabilitation. In fact, in our department, we are already doing something called prehabilitation. So we have a prehabilitation services for a cancer patient, which is really growing rapidly. Also digital health innovation. And we are in the era and we should not be left behind that. Have a national hub for digital rehab research. Amazing suggestion. And we have, I can say we have a lot of patents being filed in the institution. and the rehab and the bioengineering department are doing wonderful work. In fact, we have now set up what we call as a technology transfer office. We're looking at incubation center. And for that, we're also looking at a separate entity which will handle innovations and startups. And also how we can have world-class training with social impact. And also the next set of questions, what we have, what you want CMC to be, and what CMC should be becoming. It comes down to Christ-centered institution, committed to the poor, rooted in humility, compassion, and justice. Thank you for that feedback, because that is what CMC is, and that is what our centrality is. And also, very interesting feedback which was there was, if we have Olympics, can we be partnering that through sports medicine? Really big picture thinking. AI-driven leadership is not a dream. We better be doing something about it. The world is really moving fast. A global collaboration platform, which we heard from many of you. In fact, various ways we are trying to network and create that kind of a platform. And the third question was, what you see are the challenges we need to consider as we chase that vision or the dream, what we're talking about. One of the things which was shared was, how do we balance mission, growth, and development? Right? Sometimes you feel confused. The way the world is going, are we going the other way around? Will we be left behind? So one of the feedback was about non-hierarchical, inclusive institutional identity, inclusive partnerships. Faculty development, like Dr. Solomon already told, there are various ways to develop that. Ethical and digital transformation. Another important or interesting feedback what we got was about research collaboration through alumni engagement. And institution-wise, I think Dr. Solomon's office has created a lot of funds. In fact, even in the mission hospitals, we have about 4 or 5 grants per year for 10 lakh each. The PI has to be from CMC, but we give 10 lakh grants to do research in mission hospital. So that is also part of our initiative, what is happening. So as we go forward, I can say, though we think 10 years, I will say even beyond that, I think you have gathered here today, this evening, on a very interesting crossroads of an institution, 125 years. And God has blessed us in the last 125 years. Our vision continues to carry us when the world is in disruption with the whole idea of healthcare. So when many people, we asked, what do you expect out CMC in this consultation? They said, they did not ask us, can you show us how to become the number 1 or 2 medical college? They did not ask, can you show how to become the top multi-specialty hospital? The feedback which we got, can you help us reimagine healthcare for the future? That is why a theme for this consultation is Be Thou My Vision, Reimagine Healthcare for the Future. So I'd like to again thank God for what we heard, what the feedback, what I'm getting is no doubt that wherever you are carrying the values of the institution. Wherever you are, I think you are like the salt and the light. Sometimes some people may not be so visible, but you can get a flavor of CMC wherever you are. So thank you again for this opportunity. God bless you, and invite you again to be part of the story as you dream for the next 10 years and beyond. Have a good evening. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So coming to a end of the session, when we took in charge as the 5th executive committee of OPTAA, there was 2 things in our head. One was to conduct an alumni reunion, and one to make a small impact in this institution. I think we both got a success now. So, and 2 people who made this event special, Ruby Nakka and Ruby sir, I request principal sir to please come and our token of gratitude to present the moment to Ruby sir first. And do we need, sir? Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Now I invite the program secretary, Esther Presi, for vote of thanks and closing prayer. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's my honor and pleasure to deliver the word of thanks on this special occasion. First and foremost, we like to thank God Almighty for blessing us with this opportunity to gather here in this meaningful event. We extend our deepest gratitude to our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Vikram Mathews, Director of CMC, Dr. Solomon Satish Kumar, Principal, Dr. Satish Solomon T. Selvin, AHS Principal, and Dr. Thomas Samuel Ram, the Chairperson of Consultation 2025. Thank you for gracing this event despite your busy schedules. Your inspiring words and wisdom have set the perfect tone of our gatherings. To the organizing committees, your dedication and meticulous planning and countless sleepless nights have brought this event to life. From invitation to decorations, every detail reflects our hard work. Thank you for making this inauguration unforgettable. A special thanks to all our technical teams and volunteers for working tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure seamless and successful event. To all our friends and colleagues and attendees, your presence is what makes this occasion truly special. As we move forward, let us carry the energy and inspiration from today into our future endeavors. Thank you all. Can we just can we all stand for the college anthem and then do the closing prayer? As we stand, I'll just do the closing prayer. Can we close our eyes and look up to God? Especially, Father, we thank you and praise you, Lord. We thank you for helping us to gather here and to worship your name, Father God. Lord, thank you for helping this event to be a success, Father. Lord, as we have gathered here and shared knowledges, Father God, Lord, help us to practice in our lives. And Father God, let us continue this legacy of CMC, Father God. Lord, those who have traveled from far, Father God, thank you for bringing them safe. And when they're returning back, let your presence be with them. Keep them safe as they reach back home, Father God. We surrender everything into your mighty hand. In Jesus' most precious name we pray. Amen.